Many are still trying to cope with the devastation of the brutal weekend attack on Israel by Hamas terrorists. Noah Shack is the VP of Countering Antisemitism at the United Jewish Appeal Federation of Greater Toronto. And he's joining us live now with more on what is being done to support the local community and how they are trying to help overseas. Noah, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll start off with what's happening here locally. We saw the solidarity rally that happened at Mel Lastman Square on Monday night. It was somber tone, but also a tone of trying to keep up the strength and moving forward. How is the community continuing to cope, especially when we continue to hear of the horrors that happened over the weekend?
It's a very difficult time for the community, and I think that rally where 15,000 Torontonians came out to show support during this difficult time gave people a real boost and really showed that type of solidarity and support in the face of these brutal acts. I think it's really important to understand right now that everyone in the Jewish community here in Toronto is impacted. There are Canadians that have been killed. There are Canadians who have been abducted. There are Canadians who are still missing. And the news keeps coming out every day. We get more and more news. I heard just yesterday evening about a Canadian mother who was abducted with her two children and was brutally murdered in front of them, and the children left to die in the desert. These young kids. Thankfully, they were rescued. Tragically, she was not. These are the stories that are touching each and every one of us every single day as more and more information is getting out. And unfortunately, the attacks haven't ceased. Missiles continue to fly, targeting Jewish communities and non-Jewish communities, people of all different backgrounds living in Israel during Hamas's brutal campaign of terror. It's very clear right now that we need support. The community needs to feel that support from folks here in Toronto, especially as we're seeing some glorify, revel, even celebrate these attacks in rallies in the streets of Toronto and other cities across Canada, and also some prominent leaders of public sector unions and other organizations. So now is the time to show support for the community, to embrace us, and to really understand the deep evil that has been perpetrated. Really, this is no different than the abductions, the rapes, the murders conducted by ISIS. And a stop needs to be put to this, and we need to be able to be assured that something like this will never happen again.
What kind of services is the UGA offering to the local community here to help cope with this? Because like you've said, the images and these stories continue to come out over the last few days and will continue throughout the week, and they are horrific.
There are lots of mental health supports being offered, and we are doing our best to support everybody who's going through this challenging time. We're all in this together. I think that was another important part of that solidarity rally, to bring people together. Now is not a time to feel alone. There's also a campaign underway to bring people together to donate goods, essential goods, to help people. Right now, Israel is under lockdown. It's very difficult, and we need supplies to help people, basic supplies to help people get through this difficult time on the ground over there. There's also an emergency campaign to raise financial relief, to support the people of Israel, to support mental health supports in Israel, to support medical care for victims of terrorism. And to help evacuate people from the areas that are hardest hit, to get them out of harm's way. But as we all sit here waiting to hear the news of what's happening to our friends, to our families, as this continues to move forward, there is a community here, of strong and vibrant community, and there are resources to support people who are going through this difficult time.
Now, you deal specifically with battling anti-Semitism here in Toronto. Is there a fear that this conflict currently will lead to an increase of anti-Semitic activity here, especially because we've already seen a pretty big rise in it over the last few years?
That's right. We've been experiencing a significant increase in anti-Semitism over the last number of years. Typically, these kinds of incidents spike when there is violence in the Middle East. And we've heard some horrible rhetoric in recent days calls for massacres of Jews in the streets of Toronto, the waving of Hamas flags, and people saying that somehow the brutal rape of women, the murder of children, the kidnapping of Holocaust survivors, seniors, these are somehow justified and deserved. This kind of language creates space for hate and promotes hate. And we are very concerned that some of these ideas, some of these words will lead to harmful actions being taken against our community. So we're taking every precaution to make sure that people are as safe. We're very grateful to Toronto Police and York Region Police, who are in close communication with our community and are giving us guidance about how to stay safe and are taking this very seriously. And we're hoping for the best, but unfortunately, our experience has taught us that we need to prepare for the worst.
Noah Shack from the UJA, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.